Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about the Nintendo Switch and more specifically some of the rumours that have been doing the rounds recently in light of the upcoming Nintendo Direct. The next Nintendo Direct should be happening at some point this month, pretty soon if rumours are to be believed, and while we don't know exactly what they're going to be showing yet, it's fair to assume that there's going to be a pretty strong Nintendo Switch presence. After such a strong first year, I imagine Nintendo are keen to kick off 2018 right and maintain that Switch momentum, and as such it makes sense to set up the next few months to give people things to look forward to, mark in their calendars, and ultimately start pre-ordering. We already know that Kirby and Yoshi games are on the cards for this year, and there are of course some obvious titles we're still hoping for, but on top of that there are some interesting rumours that are gaining some momentum. So with that being said, here are 6 Nintendo Switch rumours ahead of the upcoming Nintendo Direct. If you do enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated, and be sure to comment down below, let me know which of these you guys are most looking forward to for the Switch, and what you're most hoping to see maybe outside of this. Now, kicking things off at number 1, we might as well start by addressing the title that is on the top of a lot of Switch owners' wish lists, and that is of course Super Smash Bros. I know everyone has their favourites in this series, Melee typically being the high point for a lot of players, but let's be honest, if we're going to get a Switch port, it's likely going to be the Wii U version, which I'm still totally cool with. I mean, I really enjoyed that version anyway. Looking at the success they had with Mario Kart Deluxe and also re-releasing Pokken Tournament, the Deluxe model is a natural fit for Switch. Take the Wii U version, plus all the DLC released, bundle it into one nice big package, and perhaps throw in a few extra characters on top, like how we got a couple of extra races in Mario Kart. I'm thinking if they were to do that in Smash, maybe we would get like an Inkling from Splatoon 2, maybe a character from ARMS, and perhaps someone from Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey. They seem like the most obvious options. Either way, this is a pretty safe bet at this point. While we might not hear about it this early, in January, it's possible Nintendo will hold on to this till later, since it's without a doubt going to be a pretty big hype driver. But either way, this is more than likely one on the cards for this year. In fact, there was a time at the end of last year, I believe it was the final Direct of the year, there was, at the very beginning, before the Direct went live, Super Smash Bros. Was in the YouTube tags, the metadata. It was quickly updated and removed. So whether that was just an employee making a mistake, or whether it was just like kind of a copy-paste error, or whether it was intentional and then they had to kind of like cover it up, either way, point is, it's probably coming at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. However, moving on from there to number 2, we have GTA 5. Perhaps a little bit unexpected, but this is a rumour that is gaining quite a bit of momentum as of late. This originally came from a NeoGAF user, the very same user that predicted that LA Noire would be making its way to Switch, and just in case you missed it, that has already happened. LA Noire is now indeed available on Switch. It came out in November last year. Now GTA in itself has been around for quite some time, and it's been on a broad selection of platforms, first releasing all the way back in 2013 on PS3 and Xbox 360, it later re-released on PS4 and Xbox One in 2014, and then finally hit PC in 2015, and while the Nintendo Switch might not be quite as powerful as the likes of the PS4 or Xbox One, given that this game did originally run on last generation systems, it's not outside the realms of possibility that we might indeed see a Switch port. I mean, we have recently got a pretty great Skyrim port for Switch. That version runs spectacularly on the Switch, and Skyrim is a pretty vast world, so this could end up being a thing. Of course, as with any rumour, until you get official confirmation, everything should still be taken with a pinch of salt, but either way, that's number 2. Next up, in at number 3, this one is a game that some of you guys may not have heard of, but it's a game that is close to my heart. It is a game that, quite frankly, didn't get the attention it deserved, and that is Wonderful 101. Now, this rumour isn't new. In fact, it dates all the way back to July last year. However, in light of the upcoming Nintendo Direct, I wanted to bring this back up again. For those of you that haven't heard of it, Wonderful 101 is another game from the guys over at Platinum Games, directed by Hideki Kamiya. It's an action-adventure game where you control hordes of superheroes from an isometric viewpoint, and you can turn them into various objects called Unite Morphs. You explore stages, help the citizens, recruit them to join the army of heroes, and of course you battle against enemies and bosses that cross your paths. It's a really fun game, some really epic characters, and it's just super sad that it didn't perform too well, and in truth I put that mainly down to the fact that it was on Wii U. And while I very much doubt we get to see a sequel to that given how it performed, what is pretty likely is a Switch port. We've already seen this with a handful of games that were on Wii U getting re-released on the Switch, and quite frankly, I'm completely cool with that. Take a game that perhaps didn't get the attention that it rightfully deserved due to platform choice, and give people another chance with it. Call me a fanboy if you will, but Hideki Kamiya has, in my opinion, never made a bad game, and this is one that I feel like, given the opportunity to experience on Switch, people would genuinely love. However, that aside, the reason I bring this up is because this tweet that showed up last year depicting some of the wonderful 101 characters playing a game on TV holding what is very clearly a pair of Joy-Cons attached in the Joy-Con grip configuration. And blurred in the background looks remarkably like a Switch dock. Admittedly, the Joy-Cons look like they've kind of got a more classic design to them, but that's clearly very identifiable. This also came at a very similar time to this tweet, which at the time people thought matched the neon Joy-Con colours, and as we now know, we have Bayonetta 1 and 2 re-releasing on the Switch and Bayonetta 3 on the cards. There were thoughts that this was going to be announced last year, since Hideki Kamiya retweeted one of the specific Nintendo Directs. It was a bit of a stretch, sure, he might have just retweeted it because he's a fan of the console, but this does seem more and more likely by the day, and hopefully this month's Direct might shed some more light on the topic. Moving swiftly on from there to number 4, we now turn our attention to SNK. It's their 40th anniversary this year, and while there's a good number of Neo Geo titles on the eShop, SNK have yet to bring any of their newer titles to this console. On that note, Emily Rogers, a name you may be familiar with, but Emily has in the past provided some rather accurate Nintendo rumours, especially on the run-up to Nintendo Switch's launch, and on that note, she mentioned that SNK have a new game in development for Switch, and expects it to be revealed during the January Direct. No additional details as to what it might be, but that's something else to add to the list. Then in at number 5, likely not a game we'll be getting anytime soon, but still something they could hint at or tease during the Direct, and that is of course the next Pokemon game. Game Freak have confirmed that Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will indeed be the last titles in the Pokemon franchise to come to the handheld DS line, which strongly suggests that any future titles will more than likely come exclusively to Nintendo Switch. In an interview with Shigeru Omori, director of Game Freak, he said, "When we were making Pokemon X and Y, we were really trying to push the 3DS's system to its absolute limits, which is what we thought we'd done. But when Sun and Moon came around, we completely redesigned the system and actually ended up pushing the 3DS even further to what we thought was the most we could draw out of it. With Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, we've tried to eke that out even more and really push the system to its absolute limits. And we're now feeling that this is perhaps the maximum of what we can get out of it. So we're really treating Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as the culmination of our work with the 3DS system." Now we already know that a Pokemon game is indeed coming to Switch, that's confirmed. That isn't new information. We've known that for some time, but it made sense that back when they first teased it, information would be pretty light since they wanted to launch Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and therefore wouldn't want to overshadow that with more exciting announcements like Pokemon Switch. But now that those games are out and done with, it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that we might see it teased in this month's Direct. Perhaps I'm asking for a little bit too much. I mean, Smash, Pokemon, Yoshi, Kirby, GTA 5, Wonderful 101 and more. I'm not sure we'd ever get that much packed into one single Direct, but hey, a man can dream. However, finally, in at number 6, this is less of a specific rumour about a game and more reinforcement that we are going to be getting a number of newly announced titles very soon. The other day, Wario64 on Twitter tweeted that 18 Nintendo Switch placeholder listings went up on Amazon, 14 of which could be pre-ordered, most likely ahead of the January Direct. Now, they have since been taken down, but I did check them at the time, and while they didn't have any names, they did have numbers, nothing you can glean any information on, but you have the likes of Nintendo Switch title 14, 16, 17, 24, etc. The interesting thing to note though is that some of them were priced like normal Switch games, meanwhile others were around $70 to $80, most likely hinting at a number of collectors or special editions instead. Whether they be editions that come with new coloured Joy-Cons, new amiibo, or the usual sort of thing like steel tins, art books, etc. will of course remain to be seen, but the fact that those listings went up and then were swiftly taken down does add some validity. That doesn't mean to say that any or all of those titles will be soon, but since retailers like to put titles up early so that consumers can place pre-orders, then the thought of potentially 18 new titles available or announced as early as this month, that is a lot of stuff to look forward to. Even if some of them are Wii U ports, that is still a load of things on the release calendar super early in 2018. But either way, again, until we hear from Nintendo, all of this should still be taken with a pinch of salt. In the meantime, again, let me know in the comments down below what you're most hoping to see on Switch, and from this list, is there anything you're particularly excited about? Thanks very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.